Well, everybody, this Sherrone Moore and Michigan situation is just a mess. If you guys did not see yesterday, Michigan fired their head coach Sherrone Moore after having an inappropriate relationship with a staff member, and yeah, that's all I really got to say about that. It's just a mess over there in Ann Arbor for sure. However, yesterday, if you guys did not see over on my Twitter page, I announced that we will be having another interview week. Next week, we're going to sit down with the Saraland Spartans. We're going to talk to a couple of South Alabama commits. Of course, we're going to talk to this St. Michael guys that kind of made their run happen. Then we're going to sit down with Deshaun Spencer one-on-one, the Auburn commit out of Saraland as well. We'll sit down with Larry Rudolph of QB Country Media. So lots of stuff happening here on the channel. So if you are new to the channel, welcome to the Sports Lovers. Hit that sub button, leave a comment down below so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. Also, NFL announcement. I'll be at Panthers at Saints this weekend in the Dome. Can't wait for that. I'll be there as a fan, not as a media person, because those things are just insanely hard to get to. But I'll be there supporting on Bryce Young and, of course, the Carolina Panthers and in general, and hopefully we can get the W in New Orleans. With that being said, though, welcome to today's video, which is, of course, college football bowl season predictions. We're going to break down every matchup, talk about them, who I like, who I don't like, of course, and yeah, give our predictions to wrap up the college football season. But first, if you are new to the channel, you already know what to do. Leave a like, subscribe, turn that bell on, as we do our best to post on this channel every single day. And without further ado, let us hop into these bowl season predictions. All right, kicking us off on Saturday, December 13th. I'm kind of going to roll through these really quickly, talk a little bit about each one, but I'm going to roll through them very quickly because there's a lot of bowl games we got to get to, and I'm trying to keep it in a short span for you guys so it's not like a 20-minute type of video. With that being said, the first bowl game on Saturday is, of course, South Carolina State versus Prairie View A&M in the Cricket Celebration Bowl in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I'm going to go with South Carolina State just because I know a little bit about them, and I don't know too much about Prairie View. So that's who I'm going to go with in the first bowl game, open us up for bowl season. Moving on to the next one in the LA Bowl from SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, California. That is Boise State versus Washington. And I don't know if you guys saw, but this year's LA Bowl will be the last one ever, for the most part, in LA. And I'm going to go with Washington to get the win here. I think they're the better team. Their offense has been playing really good these last few weeks, and ultimately, they should be able to get the job done. Moving on, we got Troy versus Jacksonville State in the Salute to Service Veterans Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. I'm going to go with Troy here, again, coming off of a terrible performance in the Sun Belt Conference Championship, but I'm still going to go with the Trojans to get the job done in the Veterans Bowl there. Old Dominion versus South Florida. I'm going to go with USF to get the job done. I know Alex Golesh is not going to be coaching. He's going to be focused on the Auburn Tigers, but I'm still going to go with South Florida to get the job done. It's in Florida, should be kind of a home game for them, and ultimately they will get the job done. Which brings us to the 68 Ventures Bowl right here in Mobile, Alabama. Louisiana versus Delaware. I'm going to go with Louisiana to get the job done. However, I'm not going to be shocked at all if Delaware somehow pulls off the upset in Mobile, but I'm going to go with Louisiana to get the W there. Bringing us to our next matchup here. Excuse me, guys. I'm all over the place. That is the Xbox Bowl. Missouri State versus Arkansas State. I'm going to go with Arkansas State in this one. I get Missouri is a little bit better than Arkansas State, but I feel like the Red Wolves definitely can pull the win here and get the job done in Texas there. On Friday, December 19th, of course, we got Kennesaw State versus Western Michigan. I'm going to go with the Owls. The Owls having their best season so far as a football program. 9-2, I believe, is what they finished, or 9-3, I believe, is what their record was in 2025. Just absolute domination out of the MAC, and yeah, they should be able to get the job done over Western Michigan. Which brings us to the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl in Raymond James, Tampa, Florida. Gonna go with NC State on this one. Memphis versus NC State. Memphis, I know they're one of the better group of 5 teams out there, but NC State is just by far better, and ultimately I do think they'll get the job done. Which brings us to our next one. That is the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Washington State versus Utah State. Give me Utah State to get the job done over Washington State. Toledo versus Louisville. I'm going to go with the Cardinals in this one. I don't know if you guys saw, but Colin Lacey did accept his Senior Bowl invite, so I'm going to definitely try and get an interview with him Senior Bowl Media Week. But regardless, I'm still going to go with the Cardinals. They have Miller Moss. He's been playing really good football, and ultimately I think they'll be able to get the job done. Bringing us to the New Orleans Bowl, Western Kentucky, versus Southern Miss. Give me Southern Miss to get the job done. And now, the Frisco Bowl, UNLV versus Ohio. I'm going to go with UNLV there. California versus Hawaii. Man, what are some of these bowl matchups? I'm going to go with Cal because of the offense that they have. I'm going to go with them, and they should ultimately get the job done over Hawaii. The Sports Bowl, Central Michigan versus Northwestern. I'm going to go with Northwestern here in that matchup. Again, Northwestern started the season off slow, but they've kind of found their rhythm the last few weeks, and ultimately I think they can pull off this big bowl win in Detroit. Moving on to the Rate Bowl, that is New Mexico versus Minnesota. This is going to be a very interesting one, but I'm going to go with Minnesota to ultimately get the job done. FIU versus UTSA. Give me FIU in that matchup. Pitt versus East Carolina. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh to get the job done. And now we have the bowl everybody's wanting to see. The Disappointment Bowl, because these two teams were ranked number 1 and number 2 at the start of the 2025 season. Yes, that is Penn State versus Clemson from Yankee Stadium, the Bronx, New York. This is going to be very interesting. I'm going to go with Clemson to get the job done. I like the roster that Clemson has heading into this. Penn State is just kind of all over the place right now, and I'm going to go with the Clemson Tigers to get the job done. Bringing us to UConn versus Army. I actually think this is going to be a very interesting one, but I'm going to go with UConn to get the job done. By the way, Army does play Navy this weekend. A little prediction for there. I'm going to go with Army to get the job done. Moving on, this should be a very good one. The Pop-Tarts Bowl, Notre Dame pulled out of this. If you guys did not see, that was a whole thing. Georgia Tech versus BYU. I'm going to go with BYU to get the job done. I like the offense that they have. Georgia Tech, they've kind of been on a downhill slope these last few weeks. And BYU, yes, they had that setback in that Big 12 championship game, but ultimately I still got to go with the Cougars as they are just the better team. Moving on to the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. This is going to be a fun one. Miami of Ohio versus Fresno State. Give me Fresno State in that one. North Texas versus San Diego State. Give me SDSU in that matchup. Virginia versus Missouri. This is going to be a good one. Virginia coming off that ACC championship loss. Missouri, of course, they're kind of in a reset year, but they did make a bowl game, which is a win for them. I'm going to go with the Cavaliers in that matchup. Bringing us to the LSU Tigers versus the Houston Cougars. Man, I just want this season to be over so bad, but we do have another game. Yes, we do. That is the Texas Bowl in that matchup. I'm going to go with the LSU Tigers here just because I'm rocking with my boys, ride or die, and hopefully we do come out on top and get the job done over Houston. And it is going to be a home game basically for the Houston Cougars. The Birmingham Bowl. This is absolutely hilarious because they went through so many teams to try and find an opponent for this. Georgia Southern versus App State, and it would be absolutely hilarious if Georgia Southern just walked in there and beat App State. However, I don't think it's going to happen. I think App State has the better offense, and ultimately I think they'll be able to get the job done. The Independence Bowl brings us to Coastal Carolina versus Louisiana Tech. Give me Louisiana Tech in this matchup, but don't be shocked if Coastal Carolina can win it. I swear these two teams met in the regular season, if I'm not mistaken. In this bowl matchup, the Music City Bowl, Tennessee versus Illinois, I'm going to go with Tennessee to get the job done. The Alamo Bowl, USC versus TCU, this should be a fun one. Give me USC. The Tony the Tiger Bowl, Arizona State versus Duke, I'm going to go with Duke to get the job done. Michigan versus Texas in the Cheez-It Bowl. This is going to be the best bowl game of the entire bowl slate, guys. This is going to be fun. Diego Pavia versus Bryce Underwood. Arch Manning versus Bryce Underwood. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because we do got to predict that matchup here shortly. But I'm going to go with Michigan to get the job done. I think it's going to be absolutely hilarious, but I do think that Michigan is going to pull the upset, which does bring us to, of course, the ReliaQuest Bowl between Iowa and Vanderbilt. Diego Pavia's last chance to, of course, play a college football game. Yes, he's leaving this year. And I'm going to go with the Vanderbilt Commodores to get the job done. Nebraska versus Utah. Give me Nebraska as they will get the win. Rice versus Texas State in the Armed Forces Bowl. I'm going to go with Texas State out of the Sun Belt. AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Navy versus Cincinnati. I'm going to go with Cincinnati here. The Duke's Mayo Bowl. Wake Forest versus Mississippi State. I'm actually going to pick Mississippi State in this one, and I want them to win. I really do, which is why I'm going to get them the win there. And to close us out in 2025, and to put a bowl, or tie it up, put a bow, whatever you want to say, in the college football season, Arizona versus SMU in the Holiday Bowl from San Diego. Give me the final prediction of 2025. SMU to get the job done over Arizona in that matchup. But yeah, that is my bowl season predictions. I kind of just wanted to run down things. It's a 9-minute or so video, so hopefully it's not too long for you guys. Hit that sub button, though. Leave a comment down below so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. Again, like I said earlier, we will have interview week next week where we'll be talking to kind of a lot of different scouts. We'll be talking to players and so forth of that nature, kind of recapping the 2025 Alabama high school season. And yeah, stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. Later today, we will, of course, be playing our Texas A&M Road to Glory. Tomorrow, we'll play our Vanderbilt Dynasty. So don't miss any of the videos. Don't go anywhere, as we will have videos later today as well. Thank you all so much for watching this one, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.